Got 599 problems, and this is one. Let's take a look at this Ferrari 599. This is Hoovies Ferrari 599. It is in really good shape. It's a little dusty. It's been in here for quite a while waiting on parts. But there's a lot of problems in the interior. There's some problems in the engine bay. A lot of things we're getting caught up on that's kind of been put off for a while. And every time Hoovie fixes a few things, there's more that he wants to add to it, like the dash we're going to show you today. But there's some really cool features about this car that's been converted. We'll show you what's been converted here in a little bit. But I just wanted to go over and show you guys, you always dreamed of having a Ferrari someday. People are like, man, I would love to have a Ferrari. And you kind of know in your mind, of course, it's going to be Ferrari prices on the parts. It's going to be expensive. But until it actually happens and you buy one and you see the parts prices and now you have to pay those prices, it doesn't really hit home until you do, because you're like, what have I got myself into? What? You know, it's kind of crazy. So let's get this hood open and take a look inside. All right, here's our 6-liter V12. Come hither, Danielson.
Oh, so much goodness in there, huh?
Yeah, I've got it half apart on this side anyways. So it definitely had what was a valve cover gasket leak.
Yeah, definitely all the way in the back. As soon as I pulled it, you could see all the oil and dirt and stuff like that that's been collecting.
But just to get to it, you have to take the intake plenums off.
Yes, luckily on these, you can just remove just the side chambers, not the entire thing.
So looking at this engine here, this is really what Ferrari sells you when they sell you a car, really. Isn't it?
Honestly, they really put a lot of thought into the engine.
I think it was Enzo Ferrari always said, I sell the engines, the car comes with it.
The car's free, yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes you can kind of see that on some of the different parts of the car. It's like, yeah, you could tell they really focused on the engine here.
Yeah, sometimes they'll cut corners, especially those well-known welds from Ferrari that they don't tell to be pretty, I guess.
Yeah. This is not like your typical LS engine. It operates different. It has a totally different idea behind it, doesn't it?
Yes, they're meant to be more of, I guess, on the higher end of the RPM range. I guess you're really supposed to enjoy these. These are meant to be on the track and really stressed and reliable on that type of environment.
Because I know it has 620 horsepower and about 450 torque, but all that power, it doesn't come in at like 2,000 or 3,000 RPMs. It's clear up to 6,000 and 7,000 is when the power starts really coming in.
Yeah, the way that Ferrari has designed it, they've made it where it's very linear. So as you're giving it gas, it just feels like you're going faster and faster and faster because it's just making more power, more power, and more power. Until it chokes out at the end of the RPM range.
Now, you were mentioning earlier today, these do not have a flat plane crank like the Ferrari V8s, right?
Yep, they do not. It's I believe it's mathematically impossible to have a flat plane when you have 12 cylinders like that.
But they definitely sound amazing when you get on them. They're very, very cool, very exotic sounding, because they are exotic.
Yep.
So while we were doing that, we also found some other oil leaks. We're going to show you some other parts today and how the parts don't do anything special or different than any other common car part, but yet the prices are so high. Let's take a look at the cam variator solenoids. So Danielson's pointing to them right there on the driver's side. You can see where the wiring comes out, and there's kind of a bump in the valve cover where they're located. And you can see on this side, this is where they go, right into this boss. And there's the wiring we just saw. So while you were checking this over, you found the valve covers were leaking, but you also found something was wrong with these, right?
Yes. This is actually a very common problem with these. Even on the 430s, the oil from this area, it starts to wick all the way up through the harness, and you can actually start seeing it in there, in the connector.
Right.
Eventually it just causes electrical, just a bad connection, and obviously these starts failing, and then you have to replace them. And as you can see, they're pretty well in there, so you really have to remove the whole valve cover and replace them all at the same time because it's just more cost effective.
Yeah, and these will not be rebuildable. When they make them at the factory, they're pressed together. They're not meant to come apart. If you take it apart, it will not go back together again. So it's not like, well, just blow the oil out and be good to go. But one thing that's very interesting, I want to show you something that is really shocking. And like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, the Ferraris cost a lot. You always dream of having a Ferrari until you start having to buy the parts. So here's a cam solenoid off of the Buick you just saw in a video. This is a General Motors solenoid. It costs about 60 or 70 bucks. Mechanically, as far as what it does, is no different than the one the Ferrari does. It opens and closes. It's a spool valve to let oil in different directions to operate the variators, or also called the cam actuators. They do the same exact thing, the same exact technology. This one's about 60 or 70 bucks. The Ferrari one is 1,000, and there's 4 of them. $4,000 just for these little tiny pieces. So it's kind of like 2 engines together. It's 2 inline 6s that are just kind of mated together. It's 2 of everything, right?
Yeah, and this side has 2 upstream O2 sensors, and then 2 upstream on the other side. I think it's a total of 6 O2 sensors. And then obviously, you know, in your intakes, you have double everything.
There's 2 throttle bodies, 2 mass airflow sensors, 2 sets of those cam variator solenoids we just showed you, which means 4 total. So when you start taking things apart, it's double of everything that you would normally think. So I should only have 1 throttle body. No, you have 2, which means if you take those off, you have to get 2 gaskets, not just 1. And everything starts adding up really fast. Just the gaskets and the front main seal, which we'll show you here in a minute, and those solenoids cost me $5,000. And the box should arrive today or tomorrow. It's a small little box. $5 grand. We haven't even tallied up any labor yet or diagnosis. Just the parts. Let's show you that front main seal leak now. So as we're going on here to take a look, not only are we going to show you the front main seal, but you can see there's so many expensive items. If any of this got crushed or cracked, you already know the drill. Everything's going to be $2,000 and $4,000 and $6,000 for all these parts. Now Danielson mentioned he was seeing some leak right here, you can see. And you're saying it's coming from the front main seal?
Yeah, from the front main seal. So I cleaned that all up, sprayed it with a little bit of leak trace powder, which is that white stuff that you can see on there. And then I ran it, and you can see the drip just coming directly from the seal.
Yeah, you can see them starting to form again right there after you've cleaned it.
Yes.
So it looks like the steering rack has to come loose.
Yeah, it looks like I might have to. I'll try to avoid it as much as I can, but it looks like it might have to come off.
Let's show you guys what we're talking about here. Here's the main pulley. You have to get that removed to get to the front main seal. And as you can see, if you pull it out too much further, it's going to hit the steering rack. So it may have to be loosened slightly and moved out of the way. Let's go ahead and check these brakes while we're here. You can see these are not steel rotors. Carbon ceramic brakes. Those are not cheap, but luckily you don't really change the rotors out much, huh?
Not really, or even the pads, unless you take the car and track, take it to the track, or just really beat on it on roads. These cars don't really need them, and then again, people don't drive them, so.
Yeah. Nothing's leaking from the shock. Everything looks great on that side. We do have a little boot torn here. It's not really that huge of a deal, but at some point that'll need to be addressed. But you can see Danielson mentioned they don't get driven much, and as you can see here, cobwebs. The shock is dry, brakes are good, nothing going on serious there. So unlike an LS where you go under, your oil is all contained in the oil pan and you drain it, put the plug back in, you're done. It's completely different on these. It's dry sump, as you see here. There's no real oil pan like you're thinking of. It's just a sump plate, and here is a scavenging pump right here. And there's a lot more to do with an oil change, huh, Danielson?
Yeah, and then real quick, right here, these nuts right here are actually holding the crankshaft in.
Yeah, those are the main cap bolts. It's all like one unit when you put it all together. And there's our oil filter. Pure Flux Ferrari.
Yeah, that is an oil change that you don't do, if the customer comes in, hey, I just need a quick oil change, that's not something you do because it's right next to the exhaust, and getting your hand in there, oh my goodness.
You're gonna get burned.
Yeah.
Ferrari's definitely, and we see that a lot with the cars we have in the shop, we don't really do while you wait services here, while you wait in the office. We don't do that here. We like the mechanics to operate in comfort and not burn themselves. We also don't like to get in a hurry. We like to take our time and make sure we do a good job for you guys. You know what happens at some of the other quick lube places when you get swinging around and trying to hurry up and people's waiting in the office, they got to hurry up and get this done, stuff starts getting broken. So we definitely don't follow that mantra. Here's our clutch. There's no transmission here though. This one's been converted to manual, huh, Daniel?
Yeah.
So all of the servo and all the F1 electronics and stuff are all gone. Our transmission is in the back. It's got an actual panel over it right now, but it's right there where you would think a rear differential would be. Let's see if we can see it. Yeah, you can kind of see through this hole. There's the transmission. It's kind of a transaxle, really. That all the shifting happens back here. So there's a misconception, even on the Lamborghinis, that the automated or E-gear or F1 transmission is completely different than a manual, but it's really not, huh?
No, it's really the same transmission, but what actually shifts it is different. So on a manual, you have obviously your stick shift and some cables, and on the F1, it's just a hydraulic actuator that does all the shifting for you with a computer and some sensors.
Yep, so when you do the flappy paddles, it's still shifting gears just like any other manual car. It just has a robotic arm that goes in and out and does the shifting for you. So let's check these back brakes real quick. Everything looks good there except for, see, that shock is not too bad, but I know the other side is leaking pretty bad. You can see the shock there, it's coated in oil. Both of these shocks need to come off and be rebuilt. They are starting to leak. These are not your $100 Bilstein shocks or KYBs or something like that. These are special Magnaride shocks, and they're like, what, $2,000 a shock?
About $2,000.
Per shock, not for a set, just for one. So if you need to get both rear, $4,000. And again, that doesn't include any labor. That's just for the parts. It's got some nice wide tires on here. With the power it puts out, it needs to have some good traction. So any of these exotic cars, Countach, Diablo, 430s, 360, they got some nice wide tires to put that power down. You can see it still has nice rear diffusers for the air to flow nice all the way out. We have our 599 exhaust, which actually has an actuator on the exhaust to make it louder. I'll show you that. You can see it moves in and out. A little vacuum pot there that opens that up.
Yeah, I used to unplug those all the time. Because,
unplug them?
Yeah, because when you start the car, before it builds up vacuum, they're open. So you get that big loud startup. But then the vacuum builds up and it closes the valve. Mm-hmm. So people just wanted them completely unplugged so they were always open.
A nice way to live in no muffler Newton.
Yep.
All right, we'll get this thing back on the ground. So we've already showed you enough. It's similar to other cars, but then completely different at the same time. These seats are pretty comfortable in here, huh?
Yeah, I've always liked the Ferrari seats. They have nice bolsters. I don't know, they're designed for kind of like grand touring, long drives.
Mm-hmm. So. Kind of GT seats. There's lots of carbon fiber in here, but up on the dash, that's really a common problem with these, isn't it, with the leather pulling away? Yeah,
unfortunately, the leather didn't come pre-shrunk from the factory, so if you leave it out in the sun, you'll definitely get a lot of that shrunken, peeled back leather, which is unfortunate.
And the instrument cluster hood right there, it's definitely pulling away, you can see.
Yeah.
And around the defroster vents, all that starts pulling away. Hoovie's kind of contemplating having you pull the whole dash. He's not ready yet, but to go ahead and get all that repaired and make it all right.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Definitely want to pull this dash apart.
But this car was originally F1 transmission.
Yes.
And you can see on either side of the steering column there was places where the flappy paddles were. Mm-hmm. They've been removed.
Yeah, I wonder why. I would have left them in there, honestly. Just as little fidget toys, I guess.
Yeah, and now we have this handy-dandy manual. The company that did this actually isn't, I don't know that they're even in business anymore, but has a nice carbon fiber center console they made for it. It actually kind of shifts better than the actual Ferrari manual, doesn't it?
Yes, I never worked on a 599 that was manual from the factory. So I couldn't really compare, but I did hear a lot of rumors that they were extremely difficult because there were linkages instead of cables, and before they warmed up, they were extremely difficult to get them in gears. You know, I've heard stories of mechanics that didn't know anything, and they would drive them and then come back and be like, I think I broke the car or something. I can't get it into gear, so.
Okay. Well, other than that, there's the dash, and there's really not much else going on in here that needed to be done, but it has so much other things going on underneath and in the engine bay.
Yeah, and it looks like they did all the stickies already, so, you know, that animal fat-based paint has been completely taken care of, so it doesn't need to be addressed.
Very good. All right, let's get out of here. There are Ferraris on the market. Like you can get a 360 now, an F1 360 that maybe needs a little work, $70,000, $80,000. It's kind of within reach of somebody who has a good middle class job, but really they probably shouldn't buy it. I have dealt with customers or known people that somehow they're able to get into a Ferrari financially, and then a few things break. They have absolutely no way to fix it. They don't have the money, not even half the money. And then it gets parked. You know the story. It's been sitting for 5 years. I never could get it fixed.
Yeah, I've ran into that story. I've also ran into the story where they won't drive them, so they actually won't break, so they can still enjoy them at least a few times a year, but that's as much as they can.
They're scared to drive it because if it breaks, they know they don't have the money to fix it. So they just put a few hundred miles a year on it. It's really not good to do that to one of these.
It's really not. I've seen cars sitting that have oil leaks, and people ask, well, I haven't been driving it. It's like, that's kind of the reason why.
Yeah. The seals sit, they get hard, and then when you start rotating it again, getting things moving, the seal cracks. It starts leaking, and then you have more problems. If you can drive it a couple times a month, get it warmed up, 10 miles or something, it doesn't need to be a lot. It just hurts it when it sits and doesn't move at all for a long time. I've gotten phone calls from customers, you know, this and this went out. I have been putting it off because I don't have the money. I now have a little bit of money saved up. It's been 5 years. And here's what can happen is that original problem is now cascade into more problems because it's sitting for 5 years. And just like we showed you at the beginning of this video or throughout this video, the parts aren't $50 and $10 and $20. They're $1,000, $2,000, $5,000, $600. And if you let it cascade, it can get to the point where, wasn't there a Gallardo that came here not too long ago? It had been sitting a long time. It actually had mice in it.
Yeah, that's the other problem. We ran into that issue pretty often.
And the guy basically told us, after we found out what's wrong, Daniel went through and found out mice had chewed this and that. And this is the statement he made to Crazy D. Anything over $500, I just don't got it. There's just no way. And we're looking at each other like, what the hell are you doing in a Gallardo? What the hell? So anyways, we're just giving you guys kind of an idea. There's this dream car. I would love to have it. But with that dream comes all the responsibilities, all the expenses. It can be very expensive, very, very fast. There was a time before Danielson was here, I think I was working on a 355 for a customer. We got a price together. It was going to be like $10,000 to do a bunch of work to the vehicle. He said, that's a ripoff. I'm going to call around. You guys are asking way too much. He was going to try to get the parts himself and take it to somebody who might can do the work. He called us back and he said, I can't find anywhere I can get the parts. Just the parts are $5,000. It's like, hello, we know that already. We're not too high on our prices. That's a Ferrari for you. So, wanted to show you guys also this really sweet V12. It sounds amazing when it's running. But Tyler had enough of oil leaks and things like that. He definitely wants to take care of these on phase 1. Phase 2 could be some shocks and maybe the dash. You tackle those later down the road. But every time he brings it to the shop, I really enjoy hearing this thing start up. It sounds amazing. You're doing great work, Daniel. And also, you have your own YouTube channel. For those of you who haven't seen it yet, it's actually just called Danielson. There's a link in the description below. You can go check it out. A lot of the work that's going on in the shop, he's going to be actually showing it on the channel, and also his own projects. The little Fiat that's over here he's working on. Really sweet content. You definitely don't want to miss out. If you're curious what kind of tools we use in the shop, a lot of them that we use are for sale on our Amazon affiliates. Link in the description below. If you purchase anything there, we get a small cut and really appreciate it. And make sure to hit the subscribe button here because there's many more cool videos to come. Thanks for watching.